Right now, as you watch this, your bank is legally using your savings to create 10 times that amount in brand new money they loan out at 20% interest while paying you 0.01% for the privilege. You were never saving. You were funding their empire. And the scariest part, the system was specifically designed so you would never figure that out. The reason you feel like you are falling behind, despite working harder than ever, is not because you are lazy, not because you spend too much, and not because the economy is just tough right now. It is because you have been psychologically conditioned since childhood to hand your money to the one institution that profits the most from keeping you financially illiterate. Today that conditioning ends. Before we go any deeper into this, I want to ask you one quick question. Where in the world are you watching this from right now? Drop your city and your country in the comments below. Because this is not a problem that only exists in America, or only in the UK, or only in Europe. This banking glitch is global. It runs in Lagos, it runs in London, it runs in Los Angeles, it runs in Manila, Mumbai, Toronto, and Melbourne. The system is the same everywhere, and so is the solution. So drop your location below, and let me see exactly how far this community reaches. And if nobody has told you this yet, welcome to the team. Not just a YouTube channel, not just another finance video. This is a community of people who have decided to stop being financially illiterate and start understanding the exact systems that are working against them. If that is why you are here, hit subscribe right now. Because every single week, I am going to hand you another piece of the puzzle. And by the time we are done, you will understand money better than 99% of the people around you. All right. You are locked in. The team is here. Now let's run the numbers. And I promise you, by the time we are done, you will never look at your savings account the same way again. Let me ask you something. Where do you think your money is right now? Seriously, the money sitting in your bank account, your checking account, your savings account, whatever they're calling it in your country, where do you actually think it is? If your honest answer is in the bank, then this video was made for you. The parking garage analogy. Most people treat their bank like a valet parking garage. You hand the valet your keys. They take your car, park it somewhere safe and secure, and when you come back tomorrow, next week, next month, your exact car is waiting right where you left it. Clean and untouched. That's the mental model almost every person on earth has about their bank. And it is completely, dangerously wrong, because your bank is not a parking garage. It is a corrupt car rental agency. The second you hand them the keys, they rent your car to 10 different people at the same time, while you're standing there thinking it's locked in a vault somewhere. The legal trap, unsecured creditor. Now here's where it gets legally uncomfortable. When you deposit money into a bank account, whether that's $500, £5,000, or $2 million, you do not own that money anymore. Read that again. You do not own it. What you've actually done, in the eyes of the law, is grant an unsecured loan to a highly leveraged, multi-billion-dollar corporation. The number on your banking app, that is not cash sitting in a vault with your name on it. That is an IOU. A promise from a bank to pay you back someday if you ask nicely. The illusion of safety. So why doesn't anyone talk about this? Because the illusion is brilliant. Heavy steel vault doors, marble floors, security guards who look like they bench press ATMs, the word savings account, which, by the way, is doing enormous psychological work. It has the word savings in it. It sounds like it saves things. This is not an accident. It is decades of conditioning, manufactured comfort, designed to make you feel safe handing over the one raw material banks need to build their empires. Your money. But here's the thing. Lending your money out to other people, that's almost the boring part. The craziest part, the part that should genuinely make your jaw drop, is that they don't just lend your deposit out. They use it as a legal cheat code to manufacture brand new money, from nothing, out of thin air. And we are going to show you exactly how, as we proceed. Here is the thing about inflation. The moment prices go up, everyone points at the same two suspects: the government, and the central bank, the Federal Reserve in the US, the Bank of England in the UK, the ECB in Europe, the CBN in Nigeria. They're printing too much money. You've heard it, maybe you've said it. And you're not entirely wrong, but you are missing the bigger criminal. 90% plus of all money in the economy is created not by governments, but by commercial banks. Your local bank, the one with the friendly app and the customer service hold music, that institution is responsible for manufacturing the vast majority of the money circulating in the entire economy. Not the government, not the central bank. Your bank. And the mechanism they use to do it has a name: fractional reserve banking. Let me show you exactly how it works. Follow the money. Step 1, you make a deposit. You just got paid. $1,000 lands in your checking account. Same applies if it's £1,000 in your current account or 1.5 million naira, the math is identical. You feel good. The money is safe. Step 2, the reserve fraction. The law says your bank only needs to hold a small fraction of that in reserve, historically 10%. Some countries have pushed that to 0% today, yes, 0, but we'll use 10% for clean math. So the bank sets aside $100, your $100, and the other $900, it vanishes. Step 3, the first loan. That $900 is immediately loaned out as brand new digital credit to someone buying a laptop. It did not exist before your deposit. Your deposit was the permission slip. The man buys the laptop. The electronic store gets $900. Step 4, the loop repeats. The electronic store deposits that $900 into their bank. That bank keeps $90 in reserve and loans out $810 to someone buying a second-hand car. That $810 gets deposited somewhere else. That bank loans out $729. The circle keeps repeating. Step 5, the final number. By the time this chain completes, your single $1,000 deposit has legally, mechanically, mathematically expanded into $10,000 of circulating money in the economy. Money that did not exist before you walked into that branch. Are you still with me? Because here is where it stops being a magic trick and starts being a scam. Here is the asymmetry that should keep you up at night. Your bank just created $9,000 of new money using your deposit as the foundation. Money that literally did not exist before you showed up. They are now charging anywhere from 8% to 20% interest on every dollar of that $9,000. On car loans, on credit cards, on mortgages, on personal loans. That is up to $1,800 in interest income per year from money they conjured. And what do they give you in return for providing the raw fuel for this entire operation? 0.01%. That is not a typo. On a $1,000 savings balance, that yields 10 cents a year in some accounts, a single dime, as a thank you for handing them the engine of their entire profit model. You provided the fuel, they built the rocket, and they charged every passenger on board. Now you understand how the machine works. You understand that your money is not sitting in a vault. It is a permission slip, a legal cheat code that banks use to manufacture 10 times its value and pocket the difference. So the question you should be asking right now is not, how do I earn more interest? The question is, How do I stop being the fuel and start owning a piece of the rocket? Okay, so now you know the glitch. Banks take your deposit. They multiply it by 10. They charge interest on money that didn't exist, and they hand you a 0.01% yield as a thank you. But here is the part that is going to make your stomach drop. It is not just that they are getting rich. It is that you are getting poorer right now, today, while you sleep. And most people have absolutely no idea it is happening. Let me give you the simplest explanation of inflation you have ever heard. Imagine a pizza, 8 slices, 8 people at the table, everyone gets 1 slice each. That is fair. Now imagine someone secretly cuts every slice in half. Suddenly there are 16 slices, but it is still the same pizza, same amount of food, just smaller pieces. That is exactly what banks do to your money. Every time a bank creates $10,000 out of your $1,000 deposit, they are cutting the pizza into smaller pieces. There are more dollars chasing the same amount of goods, so the price of everything goes up. Your rent, your groceries, your gas, your energy bill. The pizza did not get bigger, your slice just got smaller. Now here is the question I need you to sit with for a second. If inflation hurts everyone equally, why are the rich getting richer at the exact same time your rent keeps going up? This is where it gets dark. And this is where a concept called the Cantillon effect comes in. When banks create new money out of thin air, it does not appear equally in everyone's bank account. It goes to the top first. The billionaire investor gets a $50 million loan at 3% interest. He uses it to buy 200 apartment buildings, before prices have even adjusted, before inflation has kicked in. He buys the asset at yesterday's price with tomorrow's money. That is the masterstroke. By the time that newly created money trickles down to you, it has already done its damage. The houses are already bought, the stocks are already up, the land is already owned. And you are left standing at the checkout line, wondering why your grocery bill went from $120 to $190, and you did not change a single thing about what you buy. You did not get poorer because you made bad decisions. You got poorer because you were last in line. This is called silent wealth extraction. No one broke into your house. No one stole your wallet. But every single day your cash sits in that savings account earning 0.01%. The banking system is quietly transferring your purchasing power to the people who are already rich. It is legal, it is systemic, and it has been running for decades. So let me say this directly to you. You are not broke because you are lazy. You are not broke because you spend too much on coffee. You are broke because you were never told that leaving your savings in a traditional bank account is not a safe move. It is the most expensive financial mistake the middle class makes. And the banks are counting on you to keep making it. But here is the good news. Once you see the glitch, you cannot unsee it. As we proceed, we are going to talk about why even smart, educated people still fall for this trap every single day. Because the math is not the hard part. The psychology is. Let me ask you something personal. You now know that saving cash makes you poorer. You know banks are multiplying your money and keeping the profits. You know inflation is silently draining your purchasing power every single day. So why are millions of intelligent, hardworking people still doing it? Why are doctors, engineers, teachers, and entrepreneurs still leaving tens of thousands of dollars sitting in a savings account earning almost nothing? Because this is not a math problem. It never was. It is a psychology problem. Let me take you back to the 1980s for a second. Your parents or grandparents were not wrong when they told you to save your money in the bank. In the 1980s, a standard savings account in the United States was paying 10% to 15% annual interest. In the UK and Europe, it was similar. Cash savings accounts were genuinely powerful wealth-building tools. If your grandparents put £5,000 into a savings account back then, they were actually beating inflation. They were building real wealth. The advice was mathematically sound. But here is what nobody told you. The rules changed, the advice did not. Today, that same savings account pays you 0.01% in the US. In most of Europe and the UK, it is barely better. Inflation is running at 4%, 6%, sometimes 8%. The math that built your grandparents' middle-class life is now mathematically guaranteed to keep you poor. But the advice, the conditioning, it got passed down like a family heirloom. Be responsible, save your money, don't take risks. So here is the real question I want you to think about. If saving money is making you poor, why does it still feel so safe? Because of your lizard brain. Seriously, this is neuroscience, not an insult. The oldest part of your brain, the part that kept your ancestors alive, is wired for one thing above everything else: certainty. When you open your banking app and see a green number that never goes down, your lizard brain exhales. It feels like control. It feels like safety. It feels like you are being responsible. But it is a trap disguised as comfort. Here is the mindset shift that changes everything. Most people think investing is risky and saving is safe. That is completely backwards. Let me give you two definitions. Volatility is when the value of an asset goes up and down. Your investment portfolio might drop 15% in a bad month. That feels terrifying. That feels like risk. But here is the truth. Risk is the guaranteed mathematical certainty of an outcome you cannot escape. Leaving $20,000 in a traditional savings account for 10 years, while inflation runs at 5% annually, is not safe. It is a guaranteed 40% loss of purchasing power. That is not safety. That is slow financial suicide with a green checkmark next to it. And now let me address the thing the mainstream finance industry loves to blame. Your coffee. You have probably been told that you are broke because you buy a $5 latte, or because you have a Netflix subscription, or because you treat yourself to dinner on a Friday night. That is one of the most effective distractions the financial industry has ever invented. It keeps you focused on your spending habits instead of the broken system extracting your wealth at the source. You are not broke because of your coffee. You are broke because the global financial system requires a permanent underclass of cash-hoarding savers to act as the raw material for the banking credit machine. Your savings account is their fuel. And every financial guru telling you to cut your latte is paid by the same industry that profits from your ignorance. If you want to escape this trap, you cannot play by the rules they wrote for you. You have to do what the banks do, not what they tell you to do. As we dive even more deeper, I am going to show you the exact blueprint to opt out of their system completely and start building real, inflation-proof wealth. Starting today. All right. No more theory. No more outrage. You now know exactly how the system works. You know why your savings account is making you poorer. You know why intelligent people stay trapped. Now we are going to talk about what you actually do about it. This is the part of the video the banks do not want you to reach. Because once you understand this 3-step blueprint, you will never look at your money the same way again. But first, one mindset shift. Everything changes when you understand the difference between two things: currency and assets. Currency is paper, digits on a screen. It is the stuff banks print to infinity. Every time they issue a loan, they create more of it. And the more they create, the less yours is worth. Assets are different. Assets are things that cannot be printed. A share in a profitable business, a piece of land, an ounce of gold, a property generating rental income. The wealthy do not hoard currency. They convert currency into assets as fast as possible. That is the golden rule, and starting today, it is your golden rule too. Okay, here is the blueprint. 3 steps, let's move fast. Step 1, the starvation phase. Look at your traditional checking account right now. Whatever is in there beyond 1 to 1.5 months of your living expenses. It should not be there. That excess cash is sitting in the bank's feeding trough. It is the raw material they use to run the fractional reserve glitch we talked about earlier. Your checking account is for one purpose only: paying bills, nothing more. Keep it lean, keep it functional, and starve them of everything else. Step 2, the inflation shield. Now, that emergency fund you just moved. It needs to go somewhere that at least fights back against inflation. In the United States, open a high-yield savings account with institutions like SoFi, Ally, or Marcus by Goldman Sachs. These are currently paying 4% to 5% annually. In the UK, use a cash ISA or look at short-term government gilts. In Europe, use money market funds available through brokers like Trade Republic or Scalable Capital. Anywhere else in the world, look for ** government treasury, bills * in your local currency, or a USD-denominated equivalent. This is not where you build wealth. This is your defensive shield. 3 to 6 months of living expenses, liquid, accessible, but working harder for you than a traditional bank account ever will. Now here is the question I want you to sit with. If the banks are printing money and driving up the price of everything, who is actually winning? The people who own the things going up in price. So why are you not one of them? Step 3, the ownership engine. This is where real wealth is built. Every dollar, every pound, every euro beyond your operating account and your emergency shield. It must go into assets. Here is exactly what that looks like. For your core wealth engine, you want broad market index funds. In the US, VOO or VTI tracking the S&P 500 or the total US market, available on Fidelity, Vanguard, or Charles Schwab. In the UK and Europe, VWCE or IWDA are globally diversified ETFs available on platforms like Trading 212, Interactive Brokers, or Trade Republic. If the banks print money and drive up corporate profits, you now own a slice of those corporations. You are finally on the right side of the glitch. For your hard asset lifeboat, consider allocating a smaller portion into physical gold, real estate, or Bitcoin. These assets exist largely outside the traditional banking system. They cannot be created by a banker typing numbers into a computer. Their supply is fixed or severely limited. They are the ultimate hedge against the fractional reserve machine. Now here is the most important part of this entire blueprint. And most people skip it, which is exactly why most people stay poor. You must automate this. Your lizard brain is powerful. The moment your paycheck hits your account, it will manufacture 10 convincing reasons why you should wait until next month to invest. Do not give it the chance. Set up an automatic transfer. The day after payday, money moves directly from your checking account to your brokerage, before you see it, before you can spend it, before your emotions get involved. Wealth building must become a machine, not a decision. 3 steps. Starve the bank, shield against inflation, build your ownership engine, and automate every single part of it. This is not complicated. The banks need you to think it is complicated, because complexity keeps you paralyzed, and paralysis keeps you in their system. Finally, I am going to show you exactly what your financial life looks like 12 months from now if you follow this blueprint. The picture is going to feel very different from where you are standing today. We have covered a lot of ground today. So let me bring it all together. Because I want to make sure you leave this video with more than just information. I want you to leave with a completely new identity. Here is what you now know that most people will never know. Banks are not storage lockers. They are leverage engines. The moment your paycheck hits their system, it becomes their legal property. They multiply it by 10 using the fractional reserve glitch. They charge interest on money that did not exist. They pay you almost nothing. And the new money they create floods the economy and drives up the price of everything you are trying to afford. Your savings account was never keeping you safe. It was keeping you compliant. But here is what changes today. You are no longer a depositor. You are no longer the battery powering their machine. You are now an owner. And that single shift in identity changes everything about how you interact with money for the rest of your life. Now let me paint you a picture. 12 months from now, you have followed the 3-step blueprint already. Your checking account holds exactly what it needs to hold, nothing more. Your emergency fund is sitting in a high-yield account or a government treasury, earning 4% to 5% and shielding you from inflation. And every surplus dollar you earn is automatically flowing into a broad market index fund. Whether that is the S&P 500 in the US, a stocks and shares ISA in the UK, or a globally diversified ETF through Trade Republic or Interactive Brokers in Europe. Now here is the question I want you to sit with. What is the difference between the person who panics when they see an inflation headline and the person who smiles? One of them owns assets. The other one owns cash. When you own assets, inflation is no longer your enemy. It is your accelerator. If the banks print more money and drive up the price of everything, the value of the businesses you own goes up. The price of the property you hold goes up. The purchasing power of your gold and hard assets goes up. You are finally on the right side of the glitch. The money they print out of thin air. It now flows directly into the value of the things you own. You did not change the game. You just finally started playing it correctly. But I need to say something important before I let you go. Nobody is coming to save you. Not the government, not the Federal Reserve, not the next election, not a new policy. The system was not designed to fix itself. It was designed to perpetuate itself. The only person who can extract you from it is you. Radical personal responsibility. That is the only exit door. So the next time you open your banking app, do not look at that balance and feel safe. Look at it and ask yourself one question. How much of this is working for me, and how much of this is working for them? Look at it as a leaky bucket. Patch the hole, buy the assets, automate the process, and let the banks play their games with someone else's money. You came into this video believing your bank was keeping your money safe. You are leaving it knowing the truth. And that truth is worth more than anything sitting in your savings account right now. If this video changed the way you see money, do me one favor. Hit subscribe. Because every week I am going to keep pulling back the curtain on the systems that are quietly working against you, and showing you exactly how to flip them in your favor. Share this video with one person you care about who still thinks their savings account is protecting them. Because it is not. I will see you again soon. If you now believe that true financial freedom is not found in a bank vault with your name on it, but in owning assets that work while you sleep, grow while you rest, and compound while the banks play their games with someone else's money, then like and share this video right now. Put it in front of someone you care about who is still hoarding cash in a traditional savings account, because that share might genuinely change the trajectory of their financial life. Subscribe now for more videos that pull back the curtain on the systems quietly working against you, and hand you the exact tools to flip them in your favor. I will see you there.